Thanks, recording. Hi, everybody. It's Wednesday, November 17th. I'm pleased to see so many of you who continue to join us for these updates, and we will continue to update the campus on this schedule for us as long as it's appropriate and we have things to say. I should stop the binging, right? You guys hear that? Oh, good. Just me? All right, that's good. We do have an agenda. If there are other things that need to be added, please do so as we work our way through. Let's see. Let's start with Giving Tuesday. Lynn, you want to remind us of what November 30 is and how we can participate?
Hello, KCC Ohana. Thanks for having me on here to talk again about Giving Tuesday. I have been working with my partner in crime, Lisa Yamamoto, to put a few things together for us and our donors to make donations. So Giving Tuesday is a 24-hour period where we will be blasting emails and social media and putting things on bulletins so that we reach our donors and our faculty and staff and whomever you want to forward the link to raise funds. It has worked really well across the nation, and this is our second time we're doing Giving Tuesday for the University of Hawaii. Is the share screen available?
Could be. Just a sec.
It is. So last year, this is just the first time the UH Foundation did Giving Tuesday, and our goal was $25,000 as just a test. How much can you raise in just 24 hours through online donations? And we blew past that. I want to say that the graphics and all that we had last year wasn't that cute or as sophisticated as we have this year. So we have a much better layout, but this was last year. Just wanted to show you that. And then even, there was a donor roll last year. If you wanted your contribution to be stated here to inspire and to share, to let people have an idea of what those giving amounts and levels are, there will be a donor roll where you can have your name shown, or you can plug in as anonymous if you want. So this was last year, but this year we kind of blew it out and it is just beautiful. This is our KCC page. And of course, our college has selected to focus on the Ho'okaina Food Pantry. And Lisa developed this banner and this video for us to see and for our donors to see. And then we're still working on updating the wording to make it a little bit more palatable and zone in on the case. But we rushed to do this just so that UH Foundation could get our page up so I can share with you all in our meeting today. So here are some other areas of the UH system that are also doing some Giving Tuesday kind of campaigns, and everyone has their separate one. So I hope that this Vimeo video plays well today. If not, you'll have to just wait for Giving Tuesday to see it, but let's give it a try.
Thanks, Lynn. Questions for Lynn?
So that's what it looks like out there. We've been doing every other month. I think we've had like 4 food drives, and it is a lot of work. It's massive. We need at least 30 volunteers each time. Thank you all for volunteering and your donations throughout the year. It helps us to get ready for each food drive that we do. Last week, we just had one, and it was quite successful. We had a lot of volunteers and even community volunteers like state representatives coming out to help us. Is there any questions for me? Sorry, my hand is stuck. Sorry, Eloise. Thank you, Coco. Over 260 families attended. And so this is a really good area to still have funding go to. If I can make it a little bit more tangible for you, we are trying to raise enough money to buy refrigerators, shelving, whatever we need to make our food pantry better so that we can hold more items that are perishable. We have food pantry distributions to the community, and we also have weekly food pantry distributions over at Iliahi with Auntie Coco and the Luna Lilo Scholars. So it's going to be on November 30th. Thank you, Lisa. And we will be sending out links. I will be putting things in the bulletin, social media, CAC, and I look forward to your help to remind your colleagues and friends, please join in to do a loyalty kind of a campaign for our 75th year and see how much that we can raise for food insecurity and basic needs. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Lynn. Maybe we can do it in multiples of 75, like 75 cents, $7.50, $75.
Our lowest amount is $10.
Oh, never mind.
Yes, so you're happy. You could do 17.50 cents or $75 or $10, but please give what you can. I know that you already do, and so I'll stop there.
Okay. All right. Next on the agenda is the great reveal. So a little bit of context. Probably very soon after we started receiving HERF funding from the federal government, we also received questions about it. How much is it? What is it for? How do I get some? What happened to my request? And then it came in different waves. And oh my God, what is the difference? And what is all this money? And so it's taken us a little bit of time to put together a resource for all of the campus to take a look at. And that's because everybody who worked on this has multiple day jobs, let me say. But it did involve, first of all, working through submittal processes that made sense. We tried with Google Doc, then we went to memos, and finally, Brian developed a quality build form, which allows us to track better and to process more coherently the requests, and also allow us to have things downloaded into a spreadsheet that we can then manipulate. It required building a web page. It required gathering all of the information, and then making a dashboard that people could actually interact with and find out answers. So without the support of those folks who spent, really a lot of time making this possible. So thank you to Brian. Thank you to Jamie for the web page and the design elements. Thank you to Brandon Mark for corralling all of the information and helping us to shepherd this project. And thank you very much to Kara, who built the dashboard. And the three of those individuals worked really, really hard to make this available to the campus. And I don't want anybody to put the link in the chat until we finish the tour, because once we give it to you, you're just not going to pay attention anymore to what we say. And I do want to give Kara a chance to manipulate it. So hold on for a second, and I will go and get it just to walk you through the site and show you what's there. And then I'll ask Kara to demonstrate how to use the dashboard to gain as much information as possible. So let me go and find it. And ta-da! This is it. So you have here the connection of HERF to our integrated planning for success model, and the values that drive what we do with information. You have then a look at the different waves of money that we got. First was CARES, and then they all got to be called HERF, right? Higher Education Emergency Relief Fund. But the first one was called CARES, and that's how much money we got. And the second one was HERF2 or CARISA, and that's how much money we got. And then we got HERF3 or the American Rescue Plan Act funds, ARPA. Now, right, oh, don't you hate it when somebody else is manipulating the document? I hate that when I'm watching, but I'm just going to show you that right here, there's a comparison chart where you can see the 3 different strands of funding and what they can be used for and the various constraints. Remember, this is federal grants, so it has deliverables, it has allowable uses, etc. Then this is what we used when we were making decisions about what to use the funding for. We had pillars, 6 of them. We wanted the funding to support these various areas. We had principles, 3 of them, that guided our decisions. And we had priorities, and these have been the campus priorities for quite some time. And so all of those played into making final decisions. Then there's a submit button, and then we have the dashboard, which I will let Kara do in a little bit. And then there's FAQs, just the kinds of questions that we heard and have answered here. So this is the overall website, and I'm going to get out of here, and then I'm going to ask, apply for HERF, not so much, everybody. We did have an October 1 deadline, and we are putting a pause because, as you've heard mentioned many times, we can only spend in HERF2 as much as we spend in student aid. So we put a pause on it because we were getting close to that limit. So we just put a pause on it. So you may not get an approved proposal at this point. Okay, let me get off and then ask Kara to do a tour of the website, the dashboard, sorry.
Great. Okay, I'll go ahead and get started on that. So folks, you will all be able to access this page right from the website, and I'll also put the link for you in the chat when I'm finished. The first page is just this nice overview, and thank you, Brandon, Mark, for your insights and creating a table with the exact numbers down to the penny. So we can see we have an 86, not a 75, but we can work towards getting that changed. One thing I wanted to just point out is that with the dashboard, a lot of power is going to be in the hover. So you're going to use the tooltip to get more information. So for example, if you, this is just the submissions out of 215. So let's see. Right here, I would like to put the number of actually approved and in progress. So I'll go back and add that in. Here you can see, uh-oh. There are percentages for the funding pillar. So these were areas everybody had one option to choose from: students and enhancing support services, as well as specific program needs related to the pandemic were on top. And I was able to calculate the percentages as well, which you can find in the tooltip based on these 215 submissions. Now, we also had a rubric that we used. Let me get it out of here. Okay, and with that rubric, it wasn't followed throughout with every proposal, so I didn't put percentages on here, but with the sum, using a scale of 1 to 3 capacity building, it looks like that was the strongest metric in the proposals that were accepted and actually reviewed using this rubric. So capacity building, student retention were on top. Then we go to allocation by unit. So now we're looking at, you can look at the in progress, approved, and rejected proposals. So let's say we want to just look at what was approved. You can click on the approved. We're going to keep only that for now. The amounts requested are anywhere from 0 to up to 800,000, and that's sum total. So let's say, for example, okay, Cell had $804,000 approved and out of 14 requests made. Now this percentage along unit won't make sense unless you're looking at all of the data points. Because for now you can see the rejected amount was 7%, and 83 was approved, and we still have about 10% in progress. So that's how this works when you want to look kind of what's going on unit by unit. And it was important for us to show not only how much was requested in the amount, but also the number of requests made per unit. And when I'm saying unit, that's just anybody who submitted. I didn't want to put people's names down, but rather go a step above in granularity there. Okay, this full-time positions and major requests. So I really like this page because I think it really helps show our priorities in terms of what are we looking for positions right now during the pandemic, like what's changed, what's shifted for people. So here you'll see the different units that requested a number of positions. This means they requested a half-time position, 1 position, all the way up to 10.5 positions. And of course, each square represents 1 submission. So here, culinary arts requested a half-time position only once. But then if you look down at, for example, Office for Academic Affairs, it looks like there were two requests made for half-time positions. There was nothing in this particular request that had a narrative attached to it. But if there is a narrative attached, you will see that in that tooltip. Okay, so you have the request made as well as the justification narrative. And you'll be able to really take time to explore this on your own, right? Okay. And then also these are the major kind of larger expenses. So we're looking at anything that was above 100,000. And you can see that there's quite a few different areas on campus where that happened. And we'll just take, for example, once again, going to CELT, they needed a UPS replacement for room 100, and that was $150,000 that was requested for that. Finally, you can get a detailed table view. So we're collapsing all of this into one table for you to take a look at by unit, status, the requested resource, justification from the requester, any reviewer feedback, and then also the amount that was asked for. And they are in alphabetical order by unit. And you can also filter, not by unit, excuse me, this should be filter by status. So I'll go back and change that as well. So let's say you want to just look at what's in progress, like what's still outlined. Then you can see, okay, that makes sense. So these are the folks that are still maybe waiting for something. And that's what I have for you. Any questions about the dashboard? And I'll keep sharing my screen just in case I have to go back and use it.
Feel free to unmute and ask or put in the chat. Thank you, Lisa. Yes, the dashboard really is impressive. I totally agree.
I think we're most excited too I think this opens up possibilities. So that was something that we thought about all the time. So we know HERF is temporary, but it gives us opportunities to think about how are we going to use dashboards in the future to provide as much transparency as we can and make it so that, it's actually, I think it saves work in the long run as well, because you don't have to hunt down people and have those conversations. You can find it in the dashboard. And it is manually updated, Annie. So, yeah. And that's why you'll see, so you'll look here just to see the latest. So everything from November 1st and before should be in this version. So you'll always have that date there.
So if you have put in a proposal and you're not sure what happened to it, you can check for it here and see. This is I put the website, and the dashboard is included in the website, in the web page, so you can go back, take a look, and explore for hours and hours. And do look at the Chancellor's requests, please. And you will note that none of them is for the Chancellor. Just wanted to make sure I put that out there, lest you think I'm getting $200,000 worth of stuff for me. You can go and take a look and see what it was the Chancellor's office put forward as requests. Oh, see, Eugen, you're asking a question that is exactly in the FAQs. What do you do if yours is still in progress and you don't know who should you check with? Okay, so what does it say on the website? It says,
let me LP, if you don't mind. The easiest thing to do is there's nothing in queue right now. And the easiest thing to do is to look at your email. Because every action you'll get an email directly from Koali telling you, what the next step is or where it's at. So I would double check your email to determine. Then I would go, this is already about 2 weeks old, a little more than 2 weeks old, but then I would, if you can't find your email, then I would go to the dashboard and look it up on the detail of the list, and it'll give you an idea of where it's at. Oftentimes what we found, these emails that come from Koali are really easy for all of us to overlook, especially with the amount of emails that we get. And oftentimes what I found is that the submitter or the next step in terms of the person who's supposed to approve it has missed a notification. And unless you physically go to your action list every single day to check, you won't know unless you've caught that email. Koali is good, but it's not the magic bullet for everything. So.
Right. And the law also says that you should look in your folder.
A gentle reminder to everyone, Koali is a company that we have purchased at least 5 or 6 or 7 different programs from. So when you're talking about Koali, it's better to say Koali Build or KSCM, or to really narrow it down, because a lot of people use the word Koali and it could be referenced to 5, 6, 7 different databases.
Thank you, Susan. Koali Build is where you'll find the form submissions. Thank you. And not your KFS folder. Other thoughts, other questions about the web page or the dashboard?
I get one quick question for Brian, because I like making trouble to Brian. So I think one thing that becomes confusing, but I think you explained it to us already, is like sometimes you'll send us a comment and say, hey, Nava, you need to add Maria and somebody else. I think sometimes we don't know how to do that. Can you kind of explain how that happens?
So that's a good question. The only, I'm going to say Lisa Kanai as an example. She was the initiator and you are the supervisor. At which point the next fields, Dean, Vice Chancellor, are actually optional. And then so it's really the only people who really have to look at it from Lisa Kanai's initiation is Nava'a and then me as the PI. And so we'll send it back to Lisa saying, hey, Lisa, please add, just for a routing purpose, please add Nava'a again as the Dean, even so you would look at it twice, and then add Maria as the Vice Chancellor so she has an opportunity to understand what's being requested. So only the initiator or the form submitter is going to get that. And all you simply have to do is revise your form. I'm not going to say it's self-explanatory, but when you click on the form itself, you just got to go to those fields and add them.
Thanks, Brian.
I always like to ask questions at meetings. This is
Really?
Candy. It's been a while. I have a general question because, I was pretty new chair to social sciences, and we were supposed to have ordered like a bunch of computers and this, but, in the liberal arts, in general. So where would that be in the request when I'm looking at the list? You know what I'm saying? Like, would that be salt that it did, or I didn't see the dean in that roll up, right? So where would that be bundled?
So everyone, are you saying that you submitted a request, Candy?
No, I'm saying that as arts and sciences as a whole, we put in the request like with Maria or Navaa. Maybe Navaa can answer this, but I just don't know where to look in the list where that request would fall. Maybe Navaa has some 2 cents.
That that all went to the academic affairs request for technology, and
Okay.
that all went to Carl. And
Thank
so
you.
Carl is the one who would ask for her funding.
Thank
to buy
you.
those things. Yeah.
So if you go into the list, Candy, maybe you can filter by Celt and see what shows up to see if the overall technology for academic affairs shows up somewhere in the $800,000 worth of stuff Carl folks ordered. Other thoughts or questions? We'll be sharing the link in other venues as well, but feel free to share with the faculty and staff in your areas. We'll put it in the bulletin so that everyone can have access to it. And thanks again to everybody who sweat for this thing. I think it's great. Okay.
One final note. Louise lightly brushed upon it, but for those who, we've obviously been talking about this since TURF came out, but we had always used October 1st, 2021 as a soft deadline. It was at the top of the form just to let everyone know. So even though there's that submit button, I'm gonna, ask people, caution folks, you are okay to submit something, that's fine. But right now they're not being reviewed or approved. And the reason why is right now, I believe there's a total amount of about 5.97, 5.98 million that has been submitted. This is as of November 1st. And how we come up with that number is essentially the amount of money we have for tranche 1 or student aid. So the total amount that we have to spend between tranche 2, which is the institutional award, and tranche 3, which is the MSI section, is approximately, hold on, I'm going to give you a round number here, approximately $14 million. But we cannot spend the full amount unless all of the student aid is given out. And so that's why it just worked out well that about October 1st-ish or so, 5.9 million came in. And that's where it stops right now. So if we cannot, for whatever reason, give out all of our student aid, we can't spend all of the 14 million. And so I just wanted to make sure everybody understood that. Our timeline is really, really, really tight. For those folks who have submitted something after October 1st, and you would have recently, within the last 3 days, have gotten a quality email saying, the deadline was October 1st. We're not looking at them right now, but they will be approved in the order that they arrived in. You will have an extremely short turnaround time to look for prices, get bids, work with the business office, get paperwork in. Noel folks and his aid committee, they're working as hard as possible to give this money out. But I think we all knew from the very beginning that giving out this much money to students and spending this much money overall is a very, very difficult thing to do. And so once that money again gets spent on the student side, I'll hit the green light and get the rest of these things going. If we are not allowed to ask for a no-cost extension, which right now the system is refraining from allowing campuses to do so, we're going to end up giving back quite a bit of money to the federal government, which is okay because infrastructure, right? And broadband, right? So I say that, and I don't want to give any money back, but I think the reality is it's going to be very, very difficult given the timeline that we have. Are there any questions about that? Great.
Can I ask why it's so difficult to give money to students?
Where's
I don't know if is Noel on?
Yeah. Sorry, I can answer that question. The hard part is we got to make sure that they meet the requirements, obviously, which is COVID related. The second major factor is within a bunch of the guidelines, we're being told that you have to use some kind of indicator, which they use Pell Grant eligibility as the maximum a student could earn up within a year. So basically within that, the Pell Grant eligibility, roughly 67,000. The hard part is you're not told to not go over it, and you're not told that you could go over it. So you got to somehow navigate it and gather enough rationale so that if you get questioned, why did the student receive X amount, we have enough information. So I guess it's hard because it's not black and white. It's very gray. And I think for us as the college, my own thing is obviously get money to students, but if there is an audit, I need enough information on my side of why we gave it in a certain manner so that we wouldn't be in violation. And then have to give back money that we already spent. So that's why it's really hard. The other one, which is why I think we talk about it every meeting at every campus Zoom, is students know they can apply, or some know, most know, but they don't apply because, for one, they think that they could give it to somebody else. Somebody is more needy than they are. So very honest students that we have, and they honestly just don't apply. Like that is probably what it comes down to. They don't want to apply. So if you could convince them to just, hey, maybe go ahead and just apply, that would help out a lot. But nothing short of forcing students to apply. That's where we're kind of at. So we've been kind of emailing the students, letting them know. I think we work with the faculty and the lecturers to make sure that they share it in the classrooms. But that, if I could identify the biggest one, it's students is not applying. That's probably the biggest factor. And it's always been the case. Can we opt out of the money? I don't think so, Joe. That means we cannot spend the other campus funds.
I was thinking the students opting out.
Well, there are certain very few populations where if we know they're in need and there is data already being shown, then we can go ahead and just award them the money. And the way students could opt out, which we also see, is they never cash the check, or the address that they have on file is outdated, so nobody picks up the check. So this is why, if you heard me speak in the past, I want to get all of the allocations spent down by February, because within a month, we'll probably notice from the business office that checks were never cashed. So therefore, I got to go ahead and reallocate the money all over again. So that's the thing, is there's all these intricacies weaved throughout it. Can I transition into equity now that my video is on, just really quickly?
Yeah, because already Shannon asked you about it.
Okay, so equity is going to be a third-person party application. All right. I don't have the final number, but system has already pulled the data for our home campus students enrolled in at least 3 credits, not including international students. So we have about 4,127, I think is the total number. These students will get an email from Equity telling them they're eligible to apply, and they can do this short application, which takes literally 5 or 7 minutes. That 4,100 whatever so students is basically already approved. All right. So once they apply, they either will receive, at this time, we're thinking it's going to be $500 or $1,000, depend on their needs, on how needy they are. So this is almost going to be an automatic qualification. Literally, you just fill in lines and choose different multiple choices. And at minimum, you would get $500, and nobody would question what you use it for. Hopes that it would need for a lot of the things that you are in need, but the college will then award based on that. We'll do that in waves of 5 days increments. So basically they'll run the campaign for 5 days, Equity. After 5 days, it'll close down. They'll reevaluate based on the allocation we gave them. And then the college can make a determination to say, hey, should we run it again? Hey, should we put more money, etc. Once the campaign starts moving along, I think I will be able to present at the campus Zoom some of the dashboards that we have access to. So you guys can actually see what students, where the need is for students, and kind of see what the students are saying in these applications. But that would be the Equity application. I think, I say I think because there might be some hiccups. We're supposed to open it on Thursday. All right, we signed everything on Friday and it's supposed to open on Thursday. If everything goes smoothly, you will see an email from me about what is going out to students, so you can kind of help encourage them. The other one that I spoke about is non-credit, which is going to follow the same process, but that one won't be ready till I think it's going to be next week or maybe after Thanksgiving, because I think pulling the data from Destiny and establishing a process with the business office is going to take a little bit more time. But those are going to be probably the biggest avenues to give out money to students. And hopefully in December or in January, when we present on this again, I can say that we spent a lot more money. That would make Brian feel better about kind of reallocating money to HERFs again.
Thanks, Noel. Any questions about Equity or direct student aid? Carol.
Yeah, Noel, if the non-credit doesn't start until next week or so, will the deadline still be the first part of February, or is it going to be the latter part of February? What is it going to be?
Muted.
Muted.
Yes, I am muted. I think it's basically a soft deadline. We'll see how the application rolls out. Yeah.
Okay.
What I'm hoping for is that the non-credit students, they apply and we kind of get rid of the money and we'll just kind of reallocate another allocations.
Okay, because we do have some classes starting in February.
Because I think I want to get it out right now, so whoever's enrolled right now can get this funding.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
January, we just start a new campaign.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Other questions? Okay, there is a campus question from folks on the campus, and that's about the elevator at Iliahi near Subway, which has been out of commission for quite some time, and question about when will it be fixed. So I believe Sean is here. Sean Nathan.
Yep, right here.
Go, Sean.
Okay, so checked in with the maintenance guys. They confirmed that they had the materials arrived that they're going to use for sealing up basically some areas in the concrete where we suspect water is infiltrating from, causing the issues with the elevator machine room. So they're getting on that. Actually, they should be on it right now. They're gonna, that might be them just coming back from it. Anyway, so they're applying it today. They're gonna give it a couple days to dry and really cement. And we're targeting end of this week. We're gonna try to get in there and do some flood tests to try and verify that their work is actually holding and not allowing any more water to seep into that room. If we can get that confirmed, then we can finally get that ball rolling to get the elevator contractor to come in and handle the replacement of the motor.
Oh, complicated.
Yeah, we had to do some troubleshooting when it went down for the second time before, just to kind of make sure there were no electrical issues or other things that might have been kind of tripping this up. So after going back into that room multiple times, we finally narrowed it down to the most likely suspect being this water infiltration issue.
Okay. Thanks, Sean. Any questions? Okay. Carol, I believe you wanted to remind folks about upcoming webinar.
Right. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Just wanted to remind you that tomorrow, Thursday, there is another Kaya Ulu webinar, which is going to be featuring the Kaimuki Business Professional Association, another of our community partners. They are also celebrating their 75th anniversary. The KBPA is the association that actually sponsors the Kaimuki Christmas Parade. And they started 75 years ago, and they are a community organization that serves businesses, residents, visitors, and the community at large. They've been doing that for the past 75 years. There will be 3 panelists, Calvin Hara, who is the current president of the association, and he's been a longtime resident of Kaimuki. Dori Baba, who is a member of the Oahu Economic Development Board, where she's the operations manager, and Becky Gardner, who is an owner and principal of Policy Matters. She's been a government advocate, and she also has a fitness company that she owns, and she's a licensed attorney. She's a member of Neighborhood Board 5, and she's also sitting on the board of the KBPA. So I hope you'll come and watch this presentation, and you'll see some very interesting pictures of what Kaimuki used to look like in 1946 and learn about their history, the current organization, and where they see Kaimuki going in the future. On December the 16th will be our final webinar, which is going to feature Colette Higgins, who will be talking about our namesake, Queen Kapiolani. And it's very befitting for that to be done in December, because December 31st is Queen Kapiolani's birthday. And so whom other than Colette to be the featured speaker for that presentation. That'll be on December 16th at 5:30. And I'll put the link in the chat. Thank you.
Thanks, Carol. That's great. Okay, there's one more announcement on the agenda, but I don't know who put it there. It's about career stories. It's a UHCC system-wide webinar, looks like the future in a future in digital currency. Bitcoin, I guess, cryptocurrencies, I think.
Yes, that's me.
Go.
So the UHCC JCO is actually a consortium of folks from across the system who provide career services to our students. And this is a webinar for the Hawaii Commissioner for our Department of, it's DFI, I was just looking at them. Anywho, she's going to be talking about the future of digital currency in Hawaii. So I thought it was really a good timing, and please invite your students. Everyone is welcome. I'll put the link in the chat.
Thanks, Angela. Maybe people from Ecuador will be, no, just kidding.
Can I share some quick related news? Since we're talking about the career things, just real fast. It's like 2 minutes.
Go.
You guys are gonna get an email, but I'd also like to share, because the email didn't go out. Sue Lazo, who was with our Employment Prep Center, has moved on to take on another position outside of UH with the Purple Might Foundation. I believe if you guys thought I kicked her out because she was also from Kauai and there's only room for one person here in Student Affairs, that was not it. But she did move on to a similar position with the Purple Might Foundation. So we are gonna send out an email for some of the transition pieces. For those of you who have been working with Sue, I know a lot of the workshops that is still set for this semester will go ahead and carry out. But I kind of wanted to share that in case when we send the email, it gets buried in your other emails. So if you see Sue working with the Purple Might Foundation, you can kind of say congratulations. She didn't want to put something out earlier. She did kind of share it with a few people, but once she's gone, she said freely share. But we are very thankful for all the things she created. We are only hopeful that we can replicate whatever she has and move enough resources to kind of make sure her stuff is being taken care of.
Okay, thanks, Noel.
Mhm.
Anyone else have things to share that were not on the agenda, but that are on your mind right now? Please unmute yourself and share or put in the chat. Brandon. Dave Evans clearly is not on here. Otherwise, we would have had a question or a comment. Dave Stevens, come on. Usually you have something to say.
Not today, but thanks.
Okay. All right, then. We're done. We won't meet again before Thanksgiving, which is next week. I do wish you a very good Thanksgiving. Take some time over the days when you're not working to be thankful. Do your gratitude, mindfulness exercise, and spend some time thinking about what you are grateful for. And for me, it's all of you. So I do thank you for your continued engagement with the campus, continued support for your students and for each other. So unmute yourselves and say, Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Sorry, my hand got
Thanksgiving.
stuck. I don't know
Merry
how that
Thanksgiving.
happened.
Happy
Easter.
Thanksgiving.